one, Mark.
My name is Eli Vazquez. I am a filmmaker, all-around internet creator, and I am from Chicago. What comes to mind is a story about my little sister. She just turned 12 years old. This was around the time Trump got elected, so all emotions were high and ignorance was in the air.
The safest place in the world to be is at a Trump rally.
My mother gave me a call, and she gave me a ring saying that your sister was dealing with harassment. Some boy in class said you need to go back to Mexico, where you came from. And that hit me pretty hard. My heart dropped in a way. You hear all these like crazy stories about like hate speech and all this ignorance around America now that like Trump was the president, and you just hope the news was just exaggerating.
Trump retweeted a racially charged graphic that overstates homicides committed by African Americans.
Trump retweeted a tweet showing a swastika next to the Bush family.
The tweet also included Jeb in a mariachi outfit.
But when I heard that happened to my sister, I got worried. And being that I'm the oldest of 7 and like all my family lives in like red state Indiana, where you could drive around the neighborhood and you just see like Pence signs everywhere. Like, first off, fuck Pence, but anyway. She tells me this story, and like everybody else, I was really like sad and down and out. I didn't really want to talk to anybody about the Trump situation. I was just still licking the wounds, but like after hearing that story, it's just like I gotta call my sister and see if she's okay. When you think about kids these days, they're growing up in an era where the political structure is in chaos, so I can only imagine what's going on in her mind in general. So I give her a ring, and she's super chill. She's super relaxed. It's like every other day. And mind you, she's a hothead, so we'll talk about that later in the story. I said, what happened? And she's like, there's this big bad bully in class. He comes in and we start having an argument, and he says, none of this matters, you're just gonna go back to Mexico. Trump's gonna send you back to Mexico, yada, yada, yada. Mind you, we're like 4th generation Mexicans. Like, we are watered down, son. So the fact that he was spitting this ignorance was just ridiculous. But the entire class was on her side, the entire class was supporting her, and her response was, you have crusty lips, so no one's ever gonna wanna kiss you. You're a kid with a beer belly, so no one's ever gonna wanna date you. And you're adopted, so even your parents didn't want you. I said she was a hothead. She pretty much roasted this kid's life. I don't advocate for my siblings to make fun of people's like adoption situations, but I was overall happy that she didn't succumb to his ignorance. Hearing that story and hearing all that, it just was very bittersweet. I grew up in a more colorful neighborhood, so there was a wide array of like whites and blacks and Latinos and all that, so I didn't deal with a lot of it. But now that my family lives in a nicer area where there is predominantly more white people, that's kind of what you're just going to deal with. You know, moving to like a nice area that is usually predominantly white, it's very alienating. You feel kind of out of place. You're sitting in a room full of people that don't look like you, and you just, it's kind of like getting really high and you get really paranoid and you feel like everyone's just looking at you, and really, maybe they are, maybe they're not, but it's something you can't control. You know, I can't rub this off, you know, so it's something you gotta deal with every day, and you could feel very alone. It's 2017. 2017, and now my little sister is on that racial timeline in America where little girls here go back to your country, go back to where you came from. So that just made it so much more real of like what we're dealing with nowadays. But also, it gave me a little bit of hope that a whole classroom from red state Indiana was in support of my little sister. So it gave me this hope that perhaps in the future, that racial timeline is no more. If you're dealing with any ignorance or discrimination in any way, you just have to see that it's just temporary. These people are confused, and all you have to do is go online and look at the history of all these other ignorant people and how wrong they were. And think of all those people that dealt with that ignorance and how strong they were and how amazing people they are. And that's who you are. That's what you're dealing with. You're just like MLK.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream.
Just like Malcolm X.
Have you been to court to establish that
I didn't have to go to court to be called Murphy or Jones or Smith.
Just like all those people, you're just badass strong, And, you know, if you have to, roast their lives like my little sister, you know? Sometimes they need to get roasted.
Thanks for watching Raised in America. Go ahead and like this video, leave a comment, tap here to subscribe, and tap here to keep watching.